Happy Monday, everyone. Welcome along into the Sporty Show. A pleasure to have you join us as always. And what a busy weekend it was yet again. I am your host, Sarah Pararia, and let's dive into it, shall we? With the one, the only, Mr. ClintonCod.
Right, let's dive into it. With the one, the tallest, the only Alex Ashmore. Alex, don't ruin it. Do the same job we've just done.
I'm doing very well, thank you. How are you, Clinton? Is that
Right, cool.
good enough? Or
Well, I mean, that was slightly close, but you didn't do it the way myself and Sarah did it.
I've got no one else to introduce, though.
I mean, yeah, that's why you should have just improvised, man.
Okay, introducing... there's no one else.
Better than what you did before.
A busy weekend, guys. A couple of upsets, maybe?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah? We'll get into them. Here's what's coming up on Sporty TV this week. Later on this evening, we have Cádiz taking on Mirandes in La Liga Hypermotion. Wednesday sees the Argentino Torneo Apertura with Unión taking Boca. And Thursday is River Plate versus Instituto. Thursday is also the Saudi League with Ronaldo and co taking on Al Raid, as well as the EuroLeague basketball with Baskonia taking on Barcelona. We have Brisbane versus Western. Friday, back to Saudi for Al Hilal versus Al Oqdoud. And La Liga Hypermotion. Once again, Eldinense versus Granada. On Saturday, we have the A-League Mariners versus Newcastle. EFL Championship with Plymouth taking on West Brom. Our Premier League match of the weekend is Everton versus, Leicester City. Bundesliga, Union Berlin versus Leipzig. The Belgian Pro League, Antwerp versus Club Brugge. Super League in Greece, Levadiakos versus Olympiakos, as well as Osasuna versus Real Sociedad in La Liga. Oh my God, there's so much Saturday action. We're still on Saturday here because we have Roma taking on Napoli in the Serie A, and back to Argentina for Boca Juniors taking on Huracan. Lots and lots of football, as always, right here on Sporty TV. But here's what's coming up on today's show.
On today's Sporty Show, we go over the Premier League title race, and especially Liverpool's big win over Ipswich, meaning they are 6 points ahead of Arsenal with a game in hand. Chelsea lost to Man City in the game of the weekend, as Pep Guardiola's side climbed back into the top four. And we will also go over all the footballing action from around England and Europe.
Well then, gentlemen, where should we start? Alex, I know you don't want it, but I think we have to.
Go on then, if you insist.
All right, Manchester City did beat Chelsea over the weekend, 3-1, and it was, would you say disastrous, Alex, for Robert Sanchez or maybe the defence of Chelsea?
Yeah, I think in many manners, poor performance. You look at the way, I understand Trevor Chalobah's, he's not long come off being a Crystal Palace player, and he's back on the Chelsea books, and he was thrown right in the deep end, starting centre-half against Manchester City alongside Levi Colwill. And just as the day, I think that goal just summed up Chelsea's day, really. I think Robert Sanchez's error, various defensive mistakes, poor marking. City punished Chelsea where Chelsea were really poor, and City played well and deserved the win. And I think Chelsea should and will learn a lot of lessons from this defeat, because it will be a wake-up call in a way almost, I think, to make them realise that, yes, we've been playing very well this season as a team. This is what they'll be thinking. They'll think, as a squad, Chelsea have been playing very well. They've put in some really good performances. They've beaten some very strong teams. But this is nowhere near the finished article, and there's a long way to go before Chelsea are to be considered a top team in the Premier League.
You were excited, though, earlier because one Axel Disasi is heading up north, allegedly, to join Aston Villa.
No, I think good signing for Aston Villa. I think they obviously want to bolster their defensive options, and you both know I'm not the biggest fan of how Axel Disasi has played this weekend. I think just not this weekend, sorry, just over the season. And his time in a Chelsea shirt has been rather disappointing. I know some will say that he's had his moments, but I think he's far from the finished article. I think he's nowhere near good enough to be starting centre-back for Chelsea if Chelsea want to be challenging for titles, challenging for top four, which they should be wanting to do. And I think it doesn't look like Chelsea are going to bring anyone big in January as a centre-back signing, but that should be and has to be top, if not second, of the priority list of people to bring in the summer as a new centre-back or two.
Clinton, before we move on to Man City, let's stick with Chelsea for a bit. And let's talk about the opening goal there, or rather miss, from Nicholas Jackson. There were a lot of critics on Cole Palmer and his decision on whether he should have taken that one-on-one with the keeper. Obviously, Jackson was open to the left of him. And you had a lot to say about that off camera.
Off camera? You want me to bring it on camera, yeah?
Well, because we had the same opinion on this. We had the same opinion on this shouldn't be Cole Palmer's fault.
Now, listen, the fact is, Nicholas Jackson is not a striker. Nicholas Jackson is not a Chelsea caliber of player. Chelsea is too big for Nicholas Jackson. And Nicholas Jackson needs to go start from somewhere. And when I say somewhere, he should be starting with clubs like Leicester. He should be starting with clubs like Crystal Palace. He should be going to... He's not even qualified to play for Nottingham Forest, Bournemouth at this point in time. We are going to come into that match at some point. He's not even qualified to even play for Brighton. So I don't understand what he's doing in a club that had, or, you know, a club that's produced players like Frank Lampard. You know, a club that produced people like Didier Drogba. And now you have a Nicholas Jackson. You've literally gone from being a tiger to being a cat that doesn't even have teeth. Like, what is going on, man? Like, that opportunity... There are some midfielders that will score that. Listen, I understand that people are blaming Cole... Sorry, guys. I understand people are blaming Cole Palmer to say, oh, you should have either taken it yourself or the pass was too heavy. That's rubbish. Cole Palmer would have scored that goal if that pass was given to him by Nicholas Jackson. He could have used his left. For you to be a world-class striker at this point, you should be able to use your 2 feet. Before Ederson will run to that post, the ball is at the back of the net.
It's the indecision for me. It's the... and you talk about using 2 feet. It's the lack of confidence to be able to use the 2 feet. And if you don't have that confidence in your own ability to use 2 feet, like you said, Clinton, you should not be playing for a big six side.
Definitely.
And I know I've been a really big fan of Nicholas Jackson. I think he's had a lot of stick from quite a lot of people, especially last season. This season he's really improved, and I think he's come on leaps and bounds. But again, that finish, I think, encapsulates quite nicely where Chelsea are at the moment. Playing really well, playing some really nice, expansive, exciting football, but nowhere near the finished article. Nicholas Jackson still has a lot of things he can work on, still has a lot of things that he can do better in order to become a world-class striker like Erling Haaland, for example. And,
Bro, no, listen, Sarah, if Erling Haaland had that kind of opportunity,
I think if
a John Durant had that kind of opportunity...
I think if most players, I wouldn't just...
Oh,
no,
okay.
I'm being honest. Like, I understand Alex, when we were talking off air, he made the point, you know, the ball was a little heavy, but because Ederson was drawn to Palmer and the angle that he was given, you just have to hit that in.
Listen, if you miss it, you miss it. We understand.
Yes.
Right? No, listen, for me...
But it was,
at least,
his rearrangement, because he can't shoot with his left. You saw it, like the time that was taken. Just some comments here from you guys. Markanday says, Alex, don't you think that Nicholas Jackson... will be better as a linesman than a footballer?
Oh, my God.
Charles says, linesman Markanday, come on, a ball boy would have been much better. The shade is being thrown at Nicholas Jackson right now. Yeah, it was unfortunate.
Right now, I want Mikel Obi to go back to that podcast. I know he's made a few comments,
coming.
But I need the audio one now. I need him to say. Because anytime Mikel Obi says something, it feels like he tends to buckle up. Because he could have ended that game for Manchester. Like, that game would have... Maybe if that one went in, there would have been even more...
What would have been, 2-0?
Yeah, of course, it would have been 2. At that point...
Game finished.
Finished, done.
Well,
for
you'd think so.
Well, no. But at least he would...
Not when Robert Sanchez is playing the goal.
No, okay, yeah, that's another one. But let's forget about Sanchez for now. Because the fact is, that guy is a proper proof that Juju actually does work. Like, he's actually the goalkeeper for a club like Chelsea. Do you know how crazy that is? Like, they think that Robert Sanchez and Onana went to the same primary school. In as much as they don't even come from the same country, we don't know how that happened. But listen, I don't... But anyways, we are still on Nicholas Jackson. Nicholas Jackson needs to fix up. If he wants... do you know what the crazy thing is, though? They extended his contract to 2033.
Whose contract? Was it Erling Haaland's that they also extended last
week?
No, but those kind of people, though, you would be like, all right, it's understandable.
I just think, in general, these long-term contracts, like 2033, 2039, what is going on?
Wait, sorry, 20 what?
2039 was Erling Haaland.
Erling Haaland, it was nine and a half years, so 2034.
Sorry, 2034. I don't know why the 9.
No, but listen. For me, right? Somebody like Haaland getting that. I mean, look at what he did in that particular game, right? You could tell that this is a striker. As a matter of fact, we saw Erling Haaland literally waking up to a whole past few weeks of Man City literally going down.
Yeah.
Look at the goal he scored against Sanchez. He took advantage of the fact that Sanchez was being a stupid goalkeeper and goal. And my man just chipped him and scored. That's a striker. I'll tell you what Nicolas Jackson would have done in that situation, right? Nicolas Jackson would have been waiting for somebody to run towards the 18-yard box for him to give him so they can score an easy goal. But Erling Haaland took matters into his own hands and delivered a goal. And the goal was beautiful. And if you notice Haaland, he didn't even celebrate because he felt like, this is what I would probably do normally. What do you guys take me for? What do you think I'm doing in Manchester City? This is exactly what I get paid for, and I have to do the job. And you have people defending Nicolas Jackson saying, listen, sometimes I feel like I want to even blame Cole Palmer because the fact is Cole Palmer could have scored by himself. But it felt like, you know what, I just want to make...
It was the right decision to pass, though.
No, it was not, because if he had missed it, everybody would have blamed him to say, wait, hang on, there was Nicolas Jackson there. Why didn't you give him the... So he did... No, listen, he did a perfectly right decision. Don't get me wrong. But because Nicolas Jackson took his normal decisions that's made him Nicolas Jackson, there are some people that would be like, Cole Palmer, why didn't you even take it yourself? Listen, if this was Noni Madueke that had the opportunity, bro, that's a goal.
I think it is one of those moments that, and yes, I know Nicolas Jackson has been heavily criticised over the last, 18 months in a Chelsea shirt, and I think he's shown that he's still quite raw as a striker, but I do think misses like that do happen in football, even for the best of players. I'm not excusing it. I do think he should have scored. 100 times out of 100, you should be scoring 99. One will allow for a bobble or a slip up. It's, I think, more. It just feels very frustrating seeing them in that position and seeing them. They could have gone 2-0 up against Manchester City. I'm not saying they would have won the game, but they could have killed the game off. They could have got a third. The mentality and the feeling of getting that second would have changed the game drastically. And then City would have perhaps thought, we're in a shell here, we're in trouble. But for him to miss it, I think that was the turning point of the weekend for Chelsea. And Nicolas Jackson will have had a long, hard look at himself in the mirror on Saturday night.
That guy doesn't look at the mirror. Don't even... Nicolas Jackson doesn't look like a player that looks at the mirror, right, they would see how rubbish they've been for every single time they look. My man doesn't look. He just comes on the pitch and is Nicolas Jackson. I'm telling you that he is the one player who needs proper criticism to play well, and we've seen it work. Every single time that he's been very comfortable, you see him declining. And that's what... So right now, he needs us coming... come on, you guys, we're all here, yeah? When we've always spoke about... Well, okay, you guys like denying the fact that you're not part of it. But okay, I'll take it. I've always come here to say, Nicolas Jackson is this, Nicolas Jackson is that, and then Mikel Obi came, boom, Nicolas Jackson buckled up. And we still came here, Ali, you guys would agree, that we started praising him. What? You were praising him? Alex, you were praising him? Okay, you guys agree that you were praising him, but...
Yeah, I mean, I think it's fair to say he's played well in a Chelsea shirt.
No, but when he wasn't playing at some point, you guys put it, that I was the only one that was, firing him.
Perhaps
Okay.
we were, I think, more optimistic of his potential to do well. You were very scathing.
No, but now he came very comfortable that now everybody thinks I'm now back, and he was scoring goals. And we came here, we praised him. I said to you guys, he was becoming one of my favorite guys in the Premier League. And boom, he's back to Nicolas Jackson again. And he's going to continue getting the fire, whether I like it or not.
Markinde says Madueke cannot score that goal as well. It's only Palmer that can score that goal in the entire Chelsea squad.
Nah. That pass from Palmer to Madueke, which literally get that ball at the back of the net. At least you've seen him play. We know what he's capable of. See, one thing people don't understand about Madueke is he's actually one of the best players in Chelsea, whether we like it or not. From that right wing, that is, when you see how much he's able to take on defenders, when you see, it's not even about taking defenders even. It's about how much boldness he has to do the job. He's one of those players that are fearless. He's not scared of anything. My man doesn't care if you're carrying a bomb in front of him, whether you're carrying a gun. He's literally the equivalent of Alejandro Garnacho to me. Garnacho, the difference is the fact that Garnacho currently, in like five take-ons, he's able to complete maybe one or
I
two.
was going to say he'll lose the ball.
Yeah, I mean, that's usually what happens, right? But with Madueke, I can easily tell you that Madueke will take on 5, and he's going to maybe complete 2 or 3 in them. And those 2 or 3, one of them is being converted to a goal.
Someone asked here, would Nunez score that goal?
Bro, listen, I think I would trust. Maybe no, Nunez will take the shot, but he will hit the woodwork.
No,
Fact.
it would go over.
No. Nunez these days, yeah, he doesn't do it over. I see him doing like this, yeah, because the truth is,
No, it's the one.
no.
Like, I'm so shocked that I couldn't do it.
No, that's what I'm saying. But because with Nunez, there are 2 things that's capable of happening. Like I said, okay, like you said, he could. But with that kind of pass, I don't see it going up for Nunez. I just see it. I see him aiming at the woodwork.
You guys taking Nunez or Jackson?
And now I'm taking Nunez, man.
In terms of on the spot, who would I prefer in my team?
Yeah.
That's a very good question, though. But no.
You guys at home answer, and we'll read them out.
I think Nicholas Jackson. Just.
Now I'll tell you. But hold on. Now he's mentioned Nicholas Jackson. Let's do one quick analysis here, right? Let's do a quick analysis. You just said Nicholas Jackson. We've been on this show, Alex, so many times when we are saying if only Nunez would convert the goals that he should be converting, right? We thought he would have been one of the best strikers in the world. We've never put Nicholas Jackson in that conversation before. And guess what? The both of them, they do miss chances. In fact, let me tell you the difference between Nicholas Jackson and Nunez, right? Nicholas Jackson takes the wrong decisions. Listen to this. He takes the wrong decisions on the pitch. Nunez does not take the wrong decisions. He just misses the chances.
Yeah.
2 different things. So why should I take Nicholas Jackson?
Someone said Timo Werner.
I mean, I think when you look at the two, they're 2 different players. I think you look at the pace on both of them. Darwin Nunez clearly has that. I think they're both very strong players, but the finishing, I have more confidence in Nicholas Jackson to score a goal if you needed a game-winning goal in the last 10 minutes. I'd have more faith in Nicholas Jackson than I would in Darwin Nunez, I think.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah, well.
To each their own. 2 each their own. Well, as it stands now, Manchester City move into 4th place. Chelsea move down to 6th. Man City is now 3 points behind Arsenal. Clinton, are they coming back? We saw what happened midweek in the Champions League. But obviously, you always say, Champions League, it's very different.
Yeah.
Is it possible
That
Pep can get this team together?
fact is, it's 100% possible. I mean, we clearly see who they've just signed. They've literally just signed Oscar.
I knew you were going to say something.
Now, they've literally just signed one of the best forwards in Germany, Omar Mamouche, right? No, guys, hang on. Do you guys not think it's so illegal to have Mamouche and Haaland? Like, Alvarez is gone.
Yeah.
We don't have Alvarez in Manchester City. And mind you, Alvarez is like one of the star players, not just in Atletico Madrid right now. He's literally one of the best in Spain. Literally, Alvarez is doing... Oh, man. Sometimes I think Pep would just look at the likes of Cole Palmer and Alvarez and be like, wait, what was I thinking when I let these guys go?
Yeah, I'm sure.
These guys are monsters. And then I let them go. And you see Man City start going down. But anyways, looking at that Manchester City, though, yeah, they had a defender.
Kuznov, maybe one of the worst debuts. I felt really bad.
No, listen. You see, the person I blame in that guy's situation was Pep Guardiola, right? I felt like, how do you start such a young chap who has not probably played in the Premier League before, right? Come to a club as big as Manchester City, and then you literally, a Manchester City that has been up and down for time, and then you go put him to start his first game against Chelsea, against Chelsea. This is the reason why I want this divorce from Pep Guardiola to just finish up, because I feel like maybe they are planning to take another house in some other country we don't know, and he's making this kind of stupid decisions, man. Like, how do you bring in that young man to come face Chelsea at such a vulnerable state?
Looking at that performance, you could really tell that he was out of his depth, and City have obviously looked at him and scouted him intensively and looked at the quality that he has as a player. But to put him in, like you said, Clinton, in such a big game, in such a big moment, I think it's almost detrimental for the player now, because if you look at Kusanov and how he'll be feeling terrible. Yes, they won. They played decent football. They beat Chelsea. They're back in the top 4. But Kusanov, all he'll be thinking of on that bus back to the hotel on Saturday night when he gets back to his flat or his house, Sunday afternoon through training, all he'll be thinking about is the game that he played. He won't be thinking about the win. He won't be thinking about the 3 points.
He will be thinking about the fact that people think that he had the worst debut so
Yeah.
far. Bro, my man, he literally, that was probably the quickest goal conceding for Manchester City this season. And who cost it? Some 19-year-old. Is he 18 or 19?
I look at also the options on the bench. John Stones.
Bro,
20.
like against, see, my question is, this is against Chelsea, right? Why do you not bring him in? I understand that, yeah, there's a reason why he was signed. It means that before they brought him, he had some level of quality, because nobody just steps into Manchester City. It's a very huge club. They've got some serious legacy ongoing just within a very short period of time, right? You have Omar Mamouche. Like, I understand Omar Mamouche because this guy has pretty much built some level of momentum around his name. From Germany, my man is used to playing this high-level football. But you bring in a young man like that, and you put him, let me give you an example of exactly what happened, right? What's happened is I walk into maybe Tesla and Elon Musk say, yo, come on, I want to give you a job interview quickly. Right? At that point, I would be like, hang on, sorry. And you might ask me my name. And you will say, what's your name? I can't even remember my name. It's a bit like, some Africans, sorry to bring in this, but there are a lot of Africans that, back in the days when we came into Europe, we got to that security check and they asked us for our passports. We used to hear so many rumors back then that, they say, wait, they look at your stuff and they will send you back to Africa. And because of the whole tense and the fear, at that point when they ask you what uni are you going to, you can't even remember the name of your uni that you are coming to study in. Like, this is exactly why I thought they did this young guy. That it was to bring him in at like 70 minutes, 60 minutes, because at that point he would have sat down on the bench, looked at the Premier League, looked at Manchester City playing against this high-level club Chelsea.
Got used to the pace.
Got used to the pace, exactly. Looked at how people run around the pitch, looked at the Chelsea players, looked at how people operated. And by the time he comes in, he pretty much would understand that, okay, I'm ready. But you just put him on the spot. You could tell that he was scared. Even after that mistake, yeah, he did perform well before he left. And one thing I loved was how they encouraged him. They were clapping for him. They even gave him some kind of standing ovation when he was leaving. But like you said, by the time he goes, what he's still going to be thinking is that performance.
Yeah.
He would never forget that the rest of his life, no matter how good his performance would be.
I think
he would never forget it.
It's always bad, and I've never been a fan of chucking players in at the deep end, especially when they're young, making their debut. I think it's bad enough doing it for forwards and midfielders, but for a defender, your mistakes, similar to goalkeepers, are so much more noticeable than they are when you're a midfielder or a striker. Yeah. You give the ball away like he did, or you have that moment of indecision and you let a Premier League level striker pounce on it. Not just Premier League, it happens in the Championship, League One, League Two. If you let someone have that moment of, oh, I'm going to snap in, I'm going to take that ball, the game's gone, you've lost it. So to put someone in who's making his debut at such a young age in such an important game, I think it shows a level of, maybe it's a bit of desperation on Pep Guardiola's side in terms of how little faith he has in John Stones. And I think I look at Kusanov and I think he will recover from this and he will go on to be a solid defender. I think there is promise there. But I think putting in a defender at such a young age in an important game like that is really risky and could be detrimental for his career.
I love what he did to Nicholas Jackson at some point in that game, though, which was part of the things why I felt like he got some kind of standing ovation and people were kind of clapping when he was leaving. Yeah, he did. It kind of like found his they call it mojo, right?
Yeah.
At some point during the game. Because by the time, if you notice when that had happened, the mistake, he was being so careful. I noticed that even some of the defenders were not even passing the ball to him because they were scared that maybe it was still in his feeling and he probably wouldn't know how to maybe even pass the ball to the goalkeeper. You know, so I noticed that they were just getting the ball past him, and then later on the ball started coming to him, and then he started building the momentum again, and then he started doing some crazy tackles, you know, and I saw this run Nicholas Jackson try to do, and there's a way he literally just shaded Nicholas Jackson to the ground, and it wasn't even a foul. My man literally took the ball off Nicholas Jackson, and I think that helped his confidence at some point, and I really enjoyed to see that one. And I just hope that by the time he's back again on their next game, you know, he would be even more solid.
Yeah.
Like, what a running they have. It's not going to get any easier for City, is it?
Oh, I think I said this, last week on the show. They're playing everyone and all of them.
Bro, they're
they
just
have a
playing
must-win
Brest,
match midweek on Wednesday in the
Arsenal
Champions
at the
League.
weekend.
Yeah.
They got Liverpool, Forest, Brighton, Bournemouth.
It's pep time.
Oh,
It's pep time. Let's see. Let's move along, though. We have a lot to talk about. Let's quickly just touch on the fact that Bournemouth absolutely destroyed Nottingham Forest. Clinton, you said no, Nottingham's going to lose. They're going to remember. They're not going to make the same mistake. But what a performance from Bournemouth. I think we really have to give them credit. They played so well. I mean, they just dominated, and it was just a bad day for Forest. Like, we're not going to take away from Forest in the season that they've had, but this was brilliant from Bournemouth.
Can I, before we go into Bournemouth, can we just mention one more thing from City game before we continue? I'm sorry. Why are we not really speaking much about Mamouche? Like, wait, did you guys not think that he had a good game, though, for his debut?
I thought he had a good game, but I don't think he was a standout player for City. I
thought he was, actually.
I thought he played well, but I think...
Like, do you know how threatening he was to Chelsea yesterday?
I think for a debut, promising, and I think also something that's really good is whenever you get players coming over from whether it be Italy, Spain or Germany to the Premier League, it's such a change in terms of the way the Premier League is played compared to the other leagues. It's a different pace, it's a different physicality. To see him, supposedly it's only one game, we can't judge him off of one game because there will be games where he plays badly. But you look at the way that he seemed to adapt quite well to the pace of the Premier League and the physicality of it. I think that was really impressive, and I think signs of how well he is going to do this season and seasons to come for Manchester City.
Mamouche is not going to be that player that you would expect to have bad games at any point. You could clearly see from the moves he's going to be. Thank you. That's the word. Let's end it there. No, that's it. He's going to be a serious problem.
All right, Bournemouth in 7th place now after that massive win against Forest. They're actually tied with Chelsea in 7th, but same amount of points. Chelsea in 6th, obviously, but that was brilliant, and I'm enjoying watching them as well. Them and Forest have been brilliant, and let's see what they can do. Let's quickly move along to Tottenham Hotspur, who are now in 15th.
So we didn't speak about Forest.
You want to? Okay, Clinton, this is what happens. At the end of every show, we get to La Liga, and there's a lot to talk about in La Liga. Maybe Serie A. And then he goes, but I want to talk about Mbappe because he got a hat-trick, and then there's 30 seconds left, and then we're wrapping it up. So I'm not doing this for me.
All right,
I'm doing it for you.
All right. Let's do it.
Do you want to say one sentence about Nottingham Forest?
Right, it's hard to make it one sentence, but don't worry. Well, Nottingham Forest.
Can you fit one sentence in the next 23 minutes?
Don't worry, let's go. It's fine.
All right. Spurs lost. They're in 15th, losing 2-1 to Leicester. Out of 7 matches in the Premier League that they've played, they've only drawn 1. They've lost the rest of those 6 matches.
Christ.
Yeah. It's not looking good for them. Leicester, obviously, trying to stay out of relegation.
Have that coach?
This is the problem. We spoke about this with friend of the show, Noah, who was here, last week or the week before, Alex? But he was kind of saying, listen, it doesn't matter who you're going to have. It's not like Spurs have won anything recently with all of the coaches they've had. And we've seen these coaches, Mourinho, Nuno Espirito Santo, do good things at Conte, do good things at other clubs. It's similar to Manchester United in that the problem is bigger, it seems to me, than the manager. So are you going to change the manager halfway through at this point? They're high enough out of with points out of relegation that I don't think they'll go down. But obviously they're in a very bad way. But I think this is bigger than Ange Postecoglou.
Changing the manager doesn't fix anything at this point. You look at the squad that... look at the starting 11 for Tottenham that day. Yes, I know that they've got, 12 or 13 first-team players fit. So that is going to be a problem. But this is football. Players are going to get injured. You have to bring in the reinforcements. You have to get the right squad depth. Look at that back four. Pedro Porro, Dragusin, Ben Davies and Archie Gray. Archie Gray probably playing out of position. Ben Davies getting on the more experienced side and not the youngest. Dragusin and Porro, yes, probably two starters that would play regularly. Bergvall, Bentancur and Sara, three solid midfielders. Kulusevski, Richarlison and Son, a good front three. But it's good. It's okay. It's yeah, they'll do well. Spurs, if they want to compete, and they've got this massive stadium, they've got however many 100 seats more than the Emirates, just to be like, look at us, we've got this bigger stadium than Arsenal. We they do all this expansive work with the training ground. They get all these high-end facilities, but they don't invest any money in the squad. They've got the same tools. They've got all this impressive farm. They've got all these new barns. They've got new tractors, but they don't buy the right materials to farm the products. They don't invest in a squad that's going to win you titles, win you trophies. If you said to me now, yes, Spurs, they might win a trophy. They might get lucky against Liverpool in the Carabao Cup and they might beat Newcastle in the final. But if you said to me now, and you put me in a coma and woke me up in 10 years and said Spurs haven't won a trophy, I wouldn't be surprised. Because if Daniel Levy continues to do what he's doing now with this Spurs squad, Spurs had a banner up at the weekend. I think it was 24 years, 16 managers, no trophies. It's like what our friend Noah said, saying like, if you keep doing the same thing, I think that quote that I was looking up earlier with you, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting the same results. It's just balmy for me.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll keep eyes on Spurs, but it's just not looking very convincing, is it?
I don't know Spurs and Manchester United, which is worse at this point. But where is Spurs in the league table?
15th.
And where's Manchester United?
12th.
I think you guys are 12th.
Okay, so they are just 3.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, no, Manchester United, I don't think we can lose 6 games straight up, no matter how bad.
Well, Clinton's famous last words tend to do well on this show, so let's see if it starts now.
No, but I'm telling you, this Manchester United, no matter how low we go, it can never be as bad as what's happening to Spurs.
Maybe they'll start trying now.
Like, do you know how crazy it is?
Yeah,
Oh
losing
my
6
God.
out of your 7, and
That is-
that one
no,
you didn't.
It's not. There's a
lose,
difference.
you
There's
drew.
a difference between Leicester doing this. There's a difference between
But what
Ipswich. But no, this is Spurs we are speaking. Do you know? This is Tottenham Hotspur. They have one of the best stadiums in England.
Do you know their last 2 wins in the Premier League? They last won a game in the Premier League on the 15th of December against Southampton. Before that, it was the 23rd of November against Manchester City. 2 Premier League wins in 2 months. It's despicable.
Bro, no, they need to sack the coach and get. I think I'll do a better job than that guy.
But sacking the coach won't change the problem. It
No,
will
no,
continue being the same
listen.
issue. They don't have good enough players.
But what do you mean they don't have good enough players, though? No, Sarah, do we want to go into their players right now? Do we have time for that? Maybe not. But do we? No.
Do you think
know-
their players are good enough to challenge for titles?
I am telling you that these players are good enough. Let's go into them right now, man.
Right,
What do you mean they don't have good players?
Look at their starting 11.
Let's go. Start mentioning them to me one after the other, man.
Kinski, the goalkeeper.
No.
Exactly.
No. That's not the goal. Okay. The goalkeeper I was even looking at you mentioning it. I think it's probably
Vicario's been injured.
Yeah,
Exactly.
That's
all
that's one.
injured.
So go on.
Pedro Porro at right back.
Yeah, not too bad.
Not too
He's
bad.
actually not too bad. Yeah.
Yeah, titles and trophies. You don't get titles and trophies with not too bad.
Actually, you can sometimes because not too bad could be 8 over 10.
Miracles.
Well, Manchester United won an FA Cup last season.
Exactly. Yes.
Miracles.
Oh,
Miracles.
man. Go
Okay, Dragusin.
Average.
Exactly.
Go on.
Look at the other centre back.
But average shouldn't be making you lose 6 games at the same time.
Ben Davies.
Not too bad. No, not too bad. But go on.
Archie Gray. He's young. I'll take him out of the conversation.
Yeah, go on.
Bergvall. Young also, I think, promising. Bentancur.
Yeah. So forget about Tottenham. You're going to
Sara.
tell me, sir, this is what, you see this players you're mentioning now. Forget about Tottenham as a team.
Yeah.
You're telling me that these guys are not good players normally.
No, I'm saying they're good players, but they're not the high-quality players that you need to have in your squad if you want to be challenging for titles and trophies.
Continue.
Richarlison.
Hey, my God. Richarlison, that was actually a god in Everton. before he came to. You said there was a reason he went to Tottenham,
Yes,
or they took him to Tottenham. But continue.
I'll take Kulusevski and Son out because I do think they are good enough.
These two, no, but you cannot take them out because these are the people I want to start mentioning.
Let's look at the bench then. Sergio Reguilon.
He is actually. See, come on. Before Manchester United even got him to come play for us on loan at some point, you will know that they saw something in him.
Yves Bissouma.
Oh my God. Bro, stop mentioning. Because I'll tell you what the problem with Tottenham at this point. Because you are mentioning players who are capable of at least playing European football. Easy. Because they've done it times that number before.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you that at this point, it might necessarily not be the players. It might be that they just need a proper system that will work for the club. To me, I see it like Manchester United at this point. Because, mind you, Amorim isn't a bad coach.
Who has the best team between Tottenham, Chelsea, and Manchester United? Team, squad. Not
Chelsea. They've got better squad depth. They've got options in different positions. Maybe you look at Manchester.
Do they though?
You look at Chelsea's options. Yes, Robert Sanchez.
I think defensively, because if we want to actually go deep into it right now, yeah.
Defensively,
I cannot mention Chelsea into this
But then,
conversation.
if you look at the strike line, the options that Chelsea have going forward: Madueke, Neto, Cole Palmer.
Yes,
Nicholas Jackson.
yes.
These are
But
options.
everything behind, I think, is.
But even the midfield: Moises Caicedo, Enzo Fernandez, Romeo Lavia. These are really good quality midfield players. I think. Yeah, I don't think Tottenham are in this conversation. My point is, with this point, my point about Tottenham, they have good players, but these players aren't world class. Some of them are world class. Son, yes, he's world class. Kulusevski, I think he's brilliant. But these players, on their own,
You've never mentioned Brennan Johnson. That there was a reason why he got to Tottenham.
these are good players. They've got a few of them. But their whole squad, I'm not saying you have to have world-class players. You don't have to buy the best.
If you want to
in
talk
every
about
position.
squad, if you want to even talk about squad, what are we going to speak about? Okay, forget about the fact that Nottingham Forest did lose 5-0 to Bournemouth. But are you telling me that this team you just mentioned, on paper, you are telling me that Nottingham Forest is better than Tottenham?
No, but if you look at Nottingham Forest, the way that they've invested in their squad, they've got depth in those positions.
So-
Spurs have got however many injuries. They lose all of those world-class players. They're not playing well because they haven't got the squad depth. They're not
So are
investing
you
enough in the
taking?
squad.
Wait, hold on. Are you taking Kulusevski, Richarlison, and Son over Jadon Sancho, Nicholas Jackson, and Noni Madueke? Because I'm not.
No, I'm
I'm
not.
not taking those guys.
But I'm saying,
I'm never taking those
I'm
guys.
saying on their own, they can't. You need more. You
You
need
do
more
need
squad
more,
depth.
but we're just talking about the.
Listen, Alex, listen to the conversation here,
Mm-hmm.
right? We are not talking about whether you need more or where you have him, but whatever. We are just looking at the squad the way it is
That's
now.
what I'm saying, though.
In terms of the quality of the players, like the quality of the players is the conversation here. Yeah, you're telling me that.
I think the only thing Chelsea has better than Spurs actually is the midfield.
It's the midfield. I was going to say. That was going to be
Like,
my
the more
next,
I'm looking-
my
So
next
you say
conversation
you say
now.
they're good enough. They've had 16 managers in the last 24 years. Why haven't they won a trophy?
Because of what's going on upstairs, and I think we've all known
Exactly.
that for a very.
It's not the manager.
Yeah, but
Yeah, but it's not.
But,
I don't
but,
know.
yeah,
It's
but,
not
but, no,
players.
but, but you will see.
Upstairs.
Tottenham
But you will
last
see.
year and this
But I
year
ju- so I
have been
just
riddled with
mentioned-
injuries,
I-
and it's been super unlucky for them.
I literally
But I don't
just
think that
mentioned
you
system.
can't blame
You
that
know
on
what
the
I mean.
manager.
But you're saying that you think if they sack the manager, they'll be able to improve.
No. Listen.
That the
Oh,
manager.
I never said that.
No, Clinton said that.
No, yeah,
The
I did.
players that he has at his disposal, there are good players in that squad. There are world-class players in that squad. But on their own, we've seen them year after year for the last 5, 10, 15, 20 years. It's been different squads, players coming and going. They've never had that squad depth and that availability of players to consistently perform over a long season to challenge for trophies and titles.
I actually don't believe that.
And that fault falls at the feet of Daniel Levy and no one else.
Bro, we are not even mentioning somebody, what's his name, that even got to Tottenham from last season or something.
Striker?
Oh, Mickey Van de Ven?
No.
Striker, midfielder, goalkeeper,
I
defender?
think it's a striker. He's literally one of the best
Solanke.
strikers, Solanke.
This is what
Like,
I'm saying. They have these
Let
good
me tell
players,
you, I
but
would
when
choose,
they get
I would
injured-
choose Solanke over anybody apart from Cole Palmer, over anybody in that front Chelsea. I'm telling you the truth. Sincerely.
You take him out, though, there's no
Yeah.
one to score the goals.
What do you mean there's no one to score the goals? Are you telling me that Brennan Johnson and
Sonny.
Kulusevski,
No.
Son, you mean all these people are jokes to
But
you?
Brennan Johnson, he's injured again. You take out all of these players that are world-class and they're injured, and there's no one to come in and back that squad up. They need more squad depth. They need more
Yeah, but I
investment
think
in that
that's the whole
squad.
point. It comes down to Daniel Levy
Yeah,
and
that's what
Daniel
I'm saying.
Levy alone. I think in terms of squad, They do have good enough players, but I think they've been riddled with injuries last season and this season. Extremely unlucky. But then why are they not buying new players, getting players loaned in because they need it?
Exactly.
And that's not on Ange. That's not just on Ange. That's not on all the 10 managers that have come through. This is a problem with Daniel Levy, and any Spurs fan knows that that's the major problem with this club, and that's why they're not winning. They do have good enough players to win.
We
I
do.
think so.
And we keep talking about squad depth. Bro, in as much as I don't like Arsenal, yeah, are you telling me that we've not seen Arsenal with some crazy injury list?
I think Arsenal have some of the similar problems. You take out Saka and Odegaard, that attack.
Yeah, but they're not going to lose. They're not going to lose they're not going to win 1 or 2 games like 9 games.
I'm not comparing the situation exactly to what Tottenham. I'm saying, you look at that Tottenham squad. They have good players. They have world-class players in there.
I've just seen this comment and I feel so sad for Son. I don't know what Son still does in Tottenham, man.
Changing the managers. They've had countless managers. They've had Antonio Conte. They've had Jose Mourinho. They've had some of the best managers in world football. They've had some of the best players come and go. They've had Gareth Bale. They've had Luka Modric. They've had some really good players in that squad. They've had some world-class players in that squad. They still do with Son. You know, you look at some of the other members of that squad. Kulusevski is a fantastic winger. And still, year after year, they fail to win trophies. They pick up a few injuries, and they don't have that availability of players and that squad depth to take them through a season to challenge for trophies.
All right, let's move along, though, because we are really getting pressed for time. And I know you guys wanted to speak a little bit about Arsenal and Wolves. Arsenal beating Wolves 1-0, but that was not the story. It was the red card, and specifically the red card for Miles Lewis-Skelly. Direct red card from the referee, Michael Oliver. And it's all kicked off all over the world. There's controversy between was it a red, wasn't it a red. PGMOL has come out and also had released a statement defending Michael Oliver because he has now received several threats, a lot of abuse, which of course we don't stand with. His family's getting threats. There's definitely a line that has been crossed here, and it's getting ugly. But let's specifically circle back to, was it or was it not a red card? Alex, I'll start with you.
To be honest, the more and more
you've convinced her.
No. The more and more I look at this, the harder I think it is to make a decision. There's so many categories and elements, factors, outside elements that come into this decision making. A lot of people are saying it's not the last man, so he doesn't deserve a red card. That's not the only situation where you give a red card. We know that. We look at how far away the ball is from Matt Doherty's legs, and we look at the eye line that he's looking at Lewis Skelly's. Lewis Skelly is looking at Doherty's legs and thinking, I'm not going to get that ball. I'm just going to take his legs out. Yes, it's not the most malicious tackle in the world. Yes, it's not going to break your legs. But he is not doing anything other than trying to take his legs out. And at the end of the day, that, to me, feels malicious in the fact that you get those situations. You look back at the Super Cup final between Real Madrid and Atleti back in, whenever it was, 2020, when Fede Valverde took out, I can't remember who striker was. That was the last man. That was a lot of worse tackle. But this tackle, he's not going for the ball. He's not trying to catch up to the ball. He's not trying to catch up to the defender and maybe push him off the ball. He's just taking his legs out. And for me, the malicious nature of the tackle does, I think, and it's tough to say, I do think warrants a red card because.
So you've convinced him, Clinton.
Simple. I don't know why he's all this English has been speaking here. He's just been trying to say he accepted.
Earlier in the day, just for all of you watching, Alex very much said it's a yellow card. It's a yellow card because Clinton was arguing with one of our producers here who did think it was a yellow. But
I've watched it. I think I've watched it about 30 times in the last 4 hours, and I keep looking at it again. I keep thinking, is it malicious enough to give a red card? And I do think it is. I have our producer saying it's still only a yellow. Clinton, give me your opinion, and then we'll move along to La Liga.
Listen, I'm just going to read one comment from, I think it was Makinde. Makinde said, that was a red card, and he should be charged with attempted murder. Listen, whoever that's threatening that ref for his family, I think we need to go after these people and lock them up because that was a red card. Like, you can't even argue it. For me, I wasn't even looking at the fact that he intentionally did. Now, they could have been that he just wanted to stop the player. I understand that, right? He maybe did not mean, because things happened. We see it in the 18-yard box
He meant
usually,
that.
right?
Oh.
No. Hold on. I'm telling you that he meant to stop him,
Yeah.
but not to give him that kind of.
No, he didn't mean to break his leg.
Yeah,
He
that's
just
what I'm
wanted to trip
saying.
him up.
That's what I'm saying. He maybe did not mean to, but because he did it, it's a red card.
I think also he didn't mean to break his legs, but he wanted to stop him.
Yes.
So he knew what he was doing. He was tripping him up. He
He
wasn't
wanted
going
to
for the
trip
ball.
him, yeah.
He wasn't even looking at the ball.
He wanted to trip him. Just the same way, there are defenders, they see strikers coming on the 10-yard box, right? And they just want to maybe, just slide on the ball, and they mistakenly get the foot of the striker. And what happens? The ref blows the whistle, and it's a penalty. That's exactly what's happening in this situation here. He just probably, he didn't want to break, he just wanted to just stop him. Don't go forward. But in the process of doing that, you did something that warranted a red card. You clearly saw. Listen, when you see how his stud went, he literally went from here and went there. I don't know if we had the opportunity to get that stuff on our screen, I would have been able to explain it. We would have gone through it on slow-mo. You would have seen what he did there. And for me, that was a red card straight up. No argument.
To be honest, I think the hard thing for me is there are so many other situations where we've seen a similar tackle of that nature get given a yellow card, and I would look at them and go, that's fair, that's a yellow card. I think it's hard because you look at it and you think they're so inconsistent, but not every tackle is the same. Even though it looks the same, I think the malicious intent, the nature of it, where it was on the pitch, I think does make it hard to argue for the red card. But I still think when you're not going for the ball, you're not trying to chase after the ball or the man and try and maybe push him off the ball. You're just tripping him up. You're not even bothered about getting for the ball. I think it's malicious enough to deserve a red card.
All right. Well, there you have it. Arsenal did get the win, though, in the end, so they should be happy enough.
Yeah,
Probably not.
their win, I think it came when Wolf had their red card as well.
Yeah.
And it was 10 man
Yeah.
to 10 man.
That's
And,
good for the
and
viewer.
you know what? I felt like Wolves, that's obviously another evidence to suggest that they are not that team at all. How do you play 10 men and you still struggle? It's to tell you that we need to give credit to Arsenal too.
Yep.
Because Arsenal did hold on. They held on, and then Wolves got their own red card, and they were like, cool, now it's 50-50, let's do it. Boom,
Right.
they got their win.
Like Alex said, Arsenal are playing City next weekend. Obviously, there's Champions League action, so we'll see what happens with Arsenal. Let's quickly go. Man U finally won a game against Fulham. Clinton will be happy about that. Villa drew West Ham 1-1. Liverpool still unbeaten since Nottingham Forest beating Ipswich, and Brighton lost to Everton. I do want to move along.
Yeah, go on, that's fine. We don't have
Because
time.
we have spent most of our lives speaking about Manchester United lately, and I think I need a break personally.
We won. That's the most important thing. We won Fulham, yeah.
It was a busy weekend. In La Liga, Real Madrid won 3-0, but Kylian Mbappe pretty much won 3-0 here. Clinton's very happy about that. Do you have anything to say about Mr. Mbappe before we talk Atletico and Barcelona?
Mbappe. See, when I say Mbappe, you give me your tenor or your soprano, and you give me your tenor. Mbappe. You say?
Mbappe.
Mbappe.
That's how I pronounce it.
No, I'm proud of that young man. You don't understand. I said it that Mbappe will rise again, and it's happening in our eyes. He's probably going to be the highest goal scorer by the end of this season. Who knows? And I see it happening easy.
So he has 15 goals in La Liga. Lewandowski has 17. Rafinha has 12. But across Europe, across all comps,
22.
no, I was going to say, you know who the highest goal scorer is?
Oh, in Europe at the moment?
Yeah.
Is it Rafinha?
Mamush.
It's Lewandowski.
Wow.
Okay. 9 goals in the Champions League, 17 in La Liga, 2 in the Copa del Rey and 1 in Supercopa, 29 combined across.
Wow, okay.
I really just think, and you'll understand, as an older player,
yeah,
you have to give him respect.
No, definitely, 100%. We can't even take that off him because for the fact that at that age, he's still doing it. I think, we have to, man.
There is still a lot of season. It could change. But I think the fact that it's January. Sorry, also not to mention that January, these numbers by, I think, Lewandowski. Rafinha's already overtaken Vinny Jr.'s best year, last year. Goal and assist contribution. Mo Salah, Louis, Mbappe is on his way. I just think it's incredible what these players are doing, because if we're looking at last year and the Ballon d'Or 3, I mean, that was Vinny Jr.'s best year. And that, we know, we've heard it all. And these guys are overtaking him, and it's January, guys.
Yeah. No, I mean...
Records are being broken this season.
Of course.
It's great for us fans.
Absolutely.
So Mbappe, could he win the Pichichi? Absolutely. Atletico dropping points again. Alex, to Villarreal, 1-1 for Atleti. Yeah. And now Barcelona are only 3 points behind.
It's
Simeone's stressed.
It's Atleti. I was at the game on Saturday afternoon, and I'm not an Atleti fan, but I was irate at some of the decision making.
Give me one.
So for large periods of the game, they were putting in crosses that would have been met by a striker that's sort of 6'4", 6'5", 6'6", and Atleti must not have any strikers of that sort of height on the bench waiting to come on, because they kept on putting crosses into the box for a striker that should have been there to head the ball, but there was no one there. And obviously it kept on getting headed away by Villarreal defenders, who I can deal with this all day long. 10 minutes to go, 1-1. They should be winning this game. Villarreal are a good side. They're chasing European spots. But the game was there for the taking. Atleti bring on Marcos Llorente. Marcos Llorente is a good player, but he's not the player you need in that moment. You need a striker who is 6'4", 6'5", 6'6". And do they have anyone on that bench? They must have no one on that bench of that height that could head balls in, who has headed balls in all season long for them. Oh, yeah, they do, Alexander Sorloth, but they left him on the bench. And they drew the game.
Right now, they might be bringing, Alex Ashmore as well, because you've been doing so much there, and who knows?
I would have headed the ball in. I was trying to get on the pitch and head the ball in. That's how many times that I wanted to get on that pitch. I said this before. Simeone is a brilliant manager, and he's in so many ways tactically wonderful. But I look at some of the decision making in that game, and you're wondering, is it the same Simeone? Why is he making those decisions? Why are you continuing to cross the ball in? Also, the fault falls on the players. They've got to realise, hang on, I'm crossing it in. It's not going in. No one's heading this. The only person that's heading it is in a yellow shirt, and it's going all the way back to my halfway line. So, yeah, disappointing for Atleti. I do perhaps think they should have had a penalty in the first half when the Villarreal goalkeeper took out. I can't remember who it was. It could have been Alvarez. I do think the Villarreal penalty was fair. If Atleti fans will feel aggrieved about it, and I think when they look at it back, they'll think it's unfair, but he gets the ball. I think it was Samuel Lino, gets the ball and then takes out the man, which you just can't do. So, all in all, a really disappointing day for Atleti, and one that, well, just about sums up Atleti, really. They do make life really hard for themselves.
They sure do, because Barcelona also made a meal out of Valencia with a 7-1 win, and as I mentioned, they're now 3 points behind Atleti. So it's tightening up in La Liga. Let's see what they can do, but we have to go, unfortunately. But we'll be back again tomorrow.
Boniface to Saudi, we don't know just yet. But when we get that confirmation, we'll come back to you guys, man.
Tonight, is the AFCON draw. So tomorrow we'll also give our reactions as to what we think of the groups. And of course, Wednesday, it's Champions League action. So lots to look forward to this week. Guys, as always, enjoy the football until then, and we'll see you again tomorrow.
T. Ooh! That's my guy. Oh la la.